All right, here we go. We're live. Finally, start of the season. Real basketball starting up. You guys excited? Because I'm amped. I am amped.
I am pumped as can be. Pump faked it out. We're back, and last year we were saying how they need to figure out the opening night. I think they finally figured it out, at least somewhat. Started making inches towards it because we got basketball on at noon tomorrow.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm fucking hyped. There's some good games tomorrow, mixed in with some, iffy ones, but there's definitely enough good games spread out throughout the day that you'll be entertained all day. So I'm ready to watch them.
What, New Hampshire and Massachusetts doesn't get you going?
I mean, guys like us, maybe.
Yeah, true.
That's better than Piedmont versus Winthrop. I just saw a tweet that said 82 of 199 D1 games tomorrow involve a D1 versus a non-D1 team. 33 of those are Division III. The other 33 are against non-NCAA colleges and universities.
Right.
Beautiful.
So,
We're so back.
so there's about 30 real games, D1 versus D1 games.
Yeah, another 60, 80.
Well, I guess we'll get it started. I'm playing the first game of the day, Charleston at Southern. Well, that's the neutral, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Regardless, yep, that the Pentagon. I am going to be on Charleston -3. Southern Illinois brought in a new coach as well. They also lost Xavier Johnson, the big scoring guy for him. I think he was 23 points a game or something last year. Finished the season kind of rough. Lost some guys. Lost their big man. Charleston did lose Kelsey and some players, but they brought in a lot of guys. Chris Mack is back. I think after a year or two off, and it didn't end very well at Louisville for him. And I would say this Charleston roster is by far more talented than that Louisville roster he had. So finally getting on the road. They still have a bunch of returning guys. I think 3 points up, one bucket essentially. I think they got that covered. Against Southern Illinois. I mean, like I said, they lost Xavier Johnson. That's the big one. That dude was almost a third of their points every game. He was just a beast. So losing him and some other guys didn't end the season too hot, brought in a new coach, completely different from Charleston. They had a great season. Kelsey just upgraded, went to Louisville where actually Matt got fired from. So kind of just a wife swap there for those guys. And I think Chris Mack's going to get off on the right foot here and get a dub here against Southern Illinois, the Salukis by 3 at the Pentagon.
Yeah, I will also have a play in this game, but I'm going to take the over. I see 145.5 over at MGM, so I'm going to take the best number that I can. But I'm with you. I think, I still think Chris Mack is a good coach. Obviously, like you said, the Louisville run was, that team was not up to par with, Louisville standards, but the Charleston roster is still very talented. They brought in a lot of guys. They brought in Darren Boyd from Lipscomb, AJ Smith from Citadel. So they have a lot of guys that can give you some real good production. And the main reason that I really like this over is Southern Illinois, like you mentioned, also has a new coach, but it's Scott Nagy from Wright State, who we all watched a lot last year, being Horizon League enjoyers. And Wright State played at an insane pace. I think it was top 25, top 30 in adjusted tempo last year. So if he brings that system over to these guys, he's going to have them playing up tempo, which is not really Southern Illinois' vibe. They're usually, more defensive end, slow, paced team. But I think with Nagy coming over and having guards like he brought in from UT Rio Grande Valley, he brought players over from Abilene Christian, Texas State. He has a lot of good pieces here, a lot of guards that shoot pretty well from three, played a lot of minutes last season. So they're, kind of seasoned guys. It's, a couple seniors, redshirt juniors, these type of guys that have played for a while. So I like Nagy as a coach. I obviously like the way that he coaches his team as a guy that enjoys over. So I think with the talent on Charleston and the speed at which Southern Illinois will play, I think we'll get a pretty high scoring game here.
Yeah, I hate to piggyback you off you, Nick. That's exactly my first play. And you normally like the overs, but I guess I'll hand out the first half over, I guess. Good call on Nagy in the up-paced tempo for Wright State. But also just a little shout out. Nagy returns to Sioux Falls, where he actually started. I mean, built up South Dakota State to be the prominent school that it was. So
Yep.
it'll be interesting to have that. I'm sure there'll be some South Dakota Jackrabbit fans, South Dakota State, excuse me, but there in attendance. So it'll be interesting. Chris Mack, 2 new coaches, so always a tough read to pick a side, especially with the transfer portal. Southern Illinois, you never would take an over back in the day, and then they'd be around 120, 130. So I think they're telling you that this is a new team as well, just with that line. So I'll have to lean with you there and take that over as well in the game.
Yeah, good call. I completely skipped over that. Yeah, Nagy was with South Dakota State for like 20, 21 years, like brought them into D1, brought them to the tournament, then spent 8 years at Wright State. Like the guy's a seasoned vet. Like he's a good coach, obviously. So I think that team is going to be really interesting this year. I think they'll be probably middle of the pack of their conference still, but like you said, it's going to be hopefully a new style for Southern Illinois with Nagy leading the charge.
Yeah, even with Xavier Johnson, it was just like that slow kind of tempo back within the Missouri Valley. And then there's there's another game too, I believe, here at this.
I think there are a couple here.
There's a couple at the Pentagon, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's 2 or 3 going tomorrow at least there.
Yep.
But yeah, I guess that's game 1 of the day. Side and total plays, I guess, for all of us. So let's rock and roll. I may just ride that over with you guys. A little degen first game of the season. Gotta maximize, I suppose.
Yep.
Nick, you got game 2 here at the Pentagon?
Yeah, I believe I do. Santa Clara and St. Louis. I'm gonna ride with St. Louis. I'm gonna ride my Indiana State boys coming over. They brought the coach over from St. Louis. Avia and Isaiah Swope are coming right along with him. They also were bringing Kobe Johnson from West Virginia, and Jimerson is coming back for St. Louis. So they have a ton of production on the team. I think they're going to be, again, another offensive team like they were at Indiana State. Like they run the pick and roll so well with Avia. He can dish the ball. He can shoot the ball. Like he does everything. He's a jack of all trades. Obviously, he kind of caught the nation by storm last year with how good that he was. I do obviously think Santa Clara is very good. I'm a little bit scared of their coach. Sendek is good, really, really good at finding like underappreciated talent. I guess you could say like he finds guys that maybe don't jump off the page. You aren't, scoring 20 points a game, aren't these like clear NBA prospect guys. But under him, he turns them into that. We saw it with Podziemski last year, 2 years ago. Obviously became a great player. He's on the Warriors now, had a starting spot the other day with Curry out, and we've seen what he did at Santa Clara and now what he's doing in the pros. So I do obviously respect Santa Clara and respect him in that sense, but I just think that with the scoring potential of St. Louis and the way that they're going to run this offense with those 4 guys, that St. Louis is just going to edge them out here. So I took the +1. I think it's up to 2 now, so you can get a little better value if you like them. But yeah, I'll catch them. I'll take them catching, a little less than a possession or so.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've been staring at that. I was looking at Santa Clara potentially. I like both sides of this, like the way your side, how you explain that. I definitely could see that. I'm not probably going to play this game. Maybe I'll just lay off and enjoy it and root for you on this one. But that 159.5, that's seems a little tall. But I mean, if you look at both coaches and how they play up tempo, great offenses too. Like the last couple years, I just lost it. Son of a bitch. Santa Clara, they've had top 70 adjusted offenses. We know what Indiana State did last year, just being what they're doing. Swope and Avia are brought back. Seems maybe a little high for a neutral site in the game 1 of the season, but just curious what you think about that total. I know you were a big Indiana State total guy last year.
Yeah, I think I'll stay away from this one just to see how they play, especially with it being first game of the year and adjusting to new teammates, things like that, at least for like St. Louis. Plus you're on a neutral court. They're not used to playing there. So I think just with that being said, and like you said, it is a steep number, like it's almost 160 points. That's really up there for this. So I'd stay away from it. I guess I would just have to lean the under, just being it the first game of the year with all those factors. But yeah, I don't really have a super strong opinion either way.
Yeah, I'd have to. I mean, I'm not going to fade shirts in the Indiana State's team. It's definitely going to be a live bet play when it comes to a side. I haven't picked anything yet, but definitely we'll have a live bet out there based on the game. I think Santa Clara's defense is pretty good. That number definitely scares me, 158, even with Indiana State's high-powered offense. But Santa Clara just had an up-tempo team last year as well, so hopefully they keep that momentum. They bring in that kid from LSU, senior Adama Ball, and then they got some kid from like a West Hope Valley College or something. That's a good call out on Sendek finding different unwanted talent and untapping their potential. So with this game being an early two-team season and both teams kind of one with more with more familiarity with the team, and the other kind of just gelling together. I know that they played last year, but definitely in a new system and some new players that they have to add outside of the Indiana State edition. So this is going to be a live bet for me, and I'm really excited for this game. I think it's my favorite of the day, just because it's kind of up in the air, and it's going to be close. They got the number right at 1.5. You can't go wrong. You're going to be happy at one point. You're going to be sad at another point, and then maybe hopefully at the end, you take the right side, because I think this is a 50-50 shot for sure. So I won't fade you, Nick. I'll probably live bet the Billikens earlier, but yeah, no play for me here yet.
Yeah, I feel you. I think we might have lost Trevor. He looks like he's fucking frozen in time.
Yeah, he just texted us. He said, "I just lost power. There's a storm here. That Wisconsin Wi-Fi, I guess, can't handle the big storms up there. That lake effect is real up there, huh?"
Yeah, apparently. Shit. All right, so we could just move on to the next one. Let me.
You got any like plays, and I guess there's games at like, from 5 to like before we get to the 7 o'clock slate. Do you have any of those evening plays?
I have later plays, but I don't have any like in like the later afternoon yet, like that 5 to 7 p.m. window. I don't have any. Like you said, like what you said before we started, like a lot of them are just like non D1 competition. So there's for sure not even lines up yet. Like Valpo Liberty is at 5. Like that should be, a close-ish game. Like I think Liberty will beat them, especially. I don't know. That's a neutral as well. But I think Liberty should beat them. I think they're a better team, but I just haven't dove deep into either of them really. Temple's playing at home. I could go to that game, do some scouting.
That would be great. I'm curious. This Denver team, it's not the same as it was, right? I mean, they're playing Stanford at 5 o'clock. They just got they still got Isaiah Carr, but they lost that one really good kid from Denver that was there. So the whole new team. I don't like Stanford laying that many points, but I'd probably maybe I'm going to lead a Stanford team total over with Denver's defense and a whole new team. So,
yeah,
there's no lines on that. I don't have it. I know we got your math, but sometimes it's a point or two off or whatever. We got that. It works normally, so I'm assuming the team total will be around 7. They're basically
be 84.
Yeah, it's like 83, 80, 84.
Yeah, it'll be around there. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Obviously, Denver's defense last year was almost worse in the fucking nation.
It's a home game, a 4 p.m. game in Stanford.
Yeah, right. But I don't know. Denver played with some tempo last season. Defense was super bad. Like Stanford played with some tempo as well. Really bad at offensive rebounding, bad at getting to the line, but they were making a lot of threes, so they can definitely score points. I mean, they've had high-scoring games. Like they played USC, almost put up 100 on them, 88 against Oregon State. They scored 100 against Arizona and beat Arizona at home last year. So, I don't hate that at all.
Yeah, I'd rather trust Stanford to score than Denver, because I think it's a miscorrection from last year. That the game total might not be the right move, just because the miscorrection and them thinking that Denver had the same team. I don't know. Maybe they'll surprise me, but I mean, they're the Pioneers, for God's sakes. So That's the only really game I have in the late afternoon window.
Yes, Stanford also lost like a shit ton of players. They brought in some. I don't really know how to feel about their transfers. Like they brought in Jalen Blakes from Duke. That's the only one that I'm super familiar with. They brought in a UC Irvine transfer, a Harvard transfer that was good at Harvard. It had almost 17 points per game, 5 boards. But I mean, you're going to play in a whole other. Obviously, Denver is not a step up in competition, but once he gets into like conference play, now that with them being in the ACC too, like it's going to be a different game for him. So I don't know. I don't hate it for sure.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of something as we move through the day. No team total lines out yet, but yeah, probably around that 83 to 85 window. Maybe they start off slow. Another live bet play for me. I love the sniping the live plays. Only really in CVB versus football. McNeese for South Dakota State. Do you guys got a line on that? I don't see it.
Let me look. I
do not. No.
I don't see one either. I'm sure.
Maybe at like midnight when we're sleeping.
Yeah. Ken Palm's got it 3 for McNeese, so I'm guessing it'll be around there.
Torvik's got it at 10, but it's a home game for South Dakota State in the Pentagon.
Torvik's got it at 10?
What a crazy difference.
You don't see that much really at all. That's why I was curious, and I didn't see a line for it. So maybe even the traders are kind of freaking out a little bit on setting this line. Torvik's got 79 to 69, 83% T-rank line, so minus 10. That's why I was kind of confused. I'd be like, I think this game, 10 points is a lot for a home game for South Dakota State. Is this not – I mean, it's definitely not the same South Dakota State team losing Zeke Mayo, and really Zeke Mayo was that whole team. So curious to see how they play versus a McNeese State that have all gelled together and went to a tournament together as a 12 seed.
It would be kind of tough to fade McNeese, to be honest. I mean, it is essentially a home game for South Dakota State, but still, that McNeese team is a wagon. And I mean, if you wanted to look for an angle, McNeese does have biblical studies on deck, so big game coming up on Thursday.
The look-ahead spot really exists.
Week 1, we're already looking at it. Yeah,
South Dakota State's got transfer from Washington State, Oscar Clough. But other than that, I mean, Nate Barnhart, they're really tall, so we'll see how their guard play stacks up with Kalen Gary and Bubs Alvarez. Very good name there.
I mean, if this opens up like a 1 or 2 possession game, I'd feel like I kind of got to lean McNeese. I mean, that roster and Will Wade, absolute wagon, and they're kind of on a mission. I mean, Will Wade can get a D1 coaching job again, and these guys can go with him. So they've kind of got a mission and something to play for the entire year, regardless of the opponent.
Yeah, we'll see if size comes into play. Like Huff said, like McNeese is fucking talented, and they're deep as shit. And Will Wade is obviously a very good coach, but they don't have a lot of size on this team, like at all.
Fair.
Like their 5, who I assume is playing at the 5, is just transfer from ULL, and he's 6'9". So it's not like he's small, but like all the guards are 6'3", 166 guard. Like they have a 5'11" guy coming off the bench. Like that's one thing that South Dakota State has on them is size. So we'll see if they can take advantage of it. But yeah, I'm with you. If it's like Hasla has it at 5.5. So yeah,
this is classic though. Like week 1 of college basketball in the first few games, it's always good to just get a read, see how they play, especially at the earlier part of the season. Some of these teams that start off hot early in the season, they don't mesh well into the conference play, and it's not a seamless transition in conference play. They'll fall off, and then you'll see the people that are actually legit, especially mid-major wise. And we've seen McNeese being big, so I'd have to lean them. I hate that's a banned word, I guess, these days on our Twitter feeds. But once I see the line, I'll probably bet McNeese just because I want to and fade my Jackrabbits that I love and good old Sioux Falls. But the home game kind of scares me, and I think that's why maybe everyone's up in their arms about it, because I don't think anyone knows how weak this is going to go. So as much as I want to put the rent on every freaking game, it's best smart to just take this day as a research game and definitely play a few plays.
Yeah.
South Dakota State is fairly young too. I mean, redshirt freshman. I think they got 2 seniors and a junior. Otherwise, it's all like underclassmen on that team. I mean, freshman, 1 sophomore, freshman, redshirt freshman.
And
Like
one
they've
thing to
got
point out
a
is
lot of
South
young
Dakota
guys.
State really their offensive efficiency was low last year, and their pace wasn't as the normal pace. Our Nate Wolters and Mike Dom, South Dakota State teams. So I'm assuming that they'll try to just keep as many possessions out of McNeese State's hands for how kind of fast and efficient that they run. They have that power ranking and power rating, and again the familiarity of playing with each other. So curious what to see that line is. We can move on. No one's got anything else on that.
Got nothing on that one.
Go Will Wade.
Where are we at? I just lost power, so I had to dip out for.
We were just filling in for the evening slates. I mean, I see Purdue is 21.5. I'm not betting them as much as I'm not betting them. I don't want to bet any Corpus Christi and have money on that in West Lafayette either. But
yeah,
so I don't really have anything until 7.
Yep,
I don't really have much there either. Yeah, I mean, Fordham St. John's, I was kind of tempted to maybe play St. John's there, but again, I mean, I don't want to. I'd rather err on the side of caution than be throwing money at these games and then just get routed, just because somebody, teams aren't meshing or playing well right away. So, yeah, definitely staying away from majority of these games. How about Louisville laying 19 against Moorhead? Do you think that's potentially a little overreaction from what we saw against whoever the hell Louisville played, where they knocked down 30 some 3-pointers? Like they were shooting really good. They looked pretty good, but again, I forget who they played, but it was absolute nobodies. It was a scrimmage game. Basketball. 19 feels like a lot.
I mean, I blindly faded Louisville last year against UMBC.
Yeah.
I mean, and UMBC ended up covering, but I also had a money line that was kind of heartbreaking. Pretty sure it went to overtime, and it was like a crazy high scoring game. But yeah, I don't know if I want to do that anymore. It was fading Kenny Payne and just kind of the collapse of the program, and I think this is the year that they kind of get it back. I mean, but at 18 points, that scares me a little bit.
Yeah, I'm seeing 19. So, I mean, I guess it all varies, but.
Yeah, I see 19.5.
I mean, Moorhead's a good team. They just lost Drew Thelwell, though, to Iowa, and that was their best player. So,
right.
Moorhead did?
Yeah.
Yeah, he transferred to Iowa.
They have a lot of new guys coming in, but it's all mid-major NAIA, like nothing that really jumps off the page to, be shocked about. But like Huff said, they're still a solid team.
Jalen right. Ball State, chirp for Moorhead transferred there, not Louisville, but yeah, Moorhead's got a lot of transfers from other mid majors too.
Yeah, I mean Louisville also has a ton. Like they got Kashawn Pryor from South Florida. Obviously, Kelsey took some guys from Charleston over with them, which I assume you would expect to happen. But yeah, I don't know. 19.5 is a big spread. Like, obviously, I think Kelsey's a really good fucking coach. He proved it at Charleston, and he seems like he gets these guys fucking ready to go. But 20 points is a fucking ton to be laying. But I guess if you want to come out and, make a statement, I know it's only Moorhead, but
I mean,
and Louisville Moorhead, fans do need something to.
They have your boy. They have your boy on their team.
Moorhead made the tournament last year, but yeah, they're not the same team as last year.
Your boy Chucky is down there.
Yeah, the Chuckster. He's what's that?
I mean, what do you think about Louisville? I mean, yeah, you Chucky Hepburn being on Louisville, they can win by 20 points, right? In KFC,
I think so.
I mean, they also played 2 or 3 scrimmage games already. So I mean, they've had some games granted against Spalding and Saint Nobody University, but I mean, they still have had some games to get that chemistry going a little bit. And if you're Pat Kelsey, you came in because Louisville just
Needed
no
you.
life in that program whatsoever last year. And you've kind of got a little bit of expectations from what you did at Charleston. Now you come in and bring a bunch of solid transfers. I think this potentially could be a statement game. I mean, you just come in, Moorhead got ravaged by the portal, lost their best player, and you come in, you got some good talent. I think, they might just come in and stick it to them potentially. I mean, you need to get some life into that program after what they've been going through and Kenny Payne hell.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, there's one way to like get the fans back and the students back to fucking be excited for your program is to like beat the shit out of this team opening night at home. Like,
Yep.
you have the talent to do it. And he seems like a guy that would do it. Like, he's a pretty emotional guy.
Yeah.
So it would be a statement to be like, hey, this program is still fucking here. Like, we're not gonna go 8-24 again. So I guess I would actually lean with Louisville, but I probably won't lay that number. It's just so big.
It sucks that it opened at 16.5, 15.5, and it's just
You're fucking steamed.
No,
people are believing in that vibe, and I guess the books are correcting with it. So I mean, but Louisville, I mean, they did everything wrong last year, but this is it. This is like a tide. It's easy to see a tide turn. It's tides turning, just like IU, Tom Crean a little bit. But for first year coach coming in, it's a different world than just building a program. Like when a first year coach comes in with a whole new set of guys, it used to take 3 years. Now you can win immediately. And I think that Louisville will do that. They realize that when a good coach, Kelsey's got that kind of like ego play coach with a chip on his shoulder. So yeah, I kind of want to buy into the vibe of Louisville being back versus comparing stats or players and whatnot, and just what they want to win by 30 and make this a statement game and win 88, 58, 88-60 or some crap like that. So
yeah, absolutely. I may, maybe I'll throw a little half unit on it just to have a little bit of skin in the game. But it just kind of feels like a statement spot. I mean, everything's lining up for that with everything they went through, what they brought in, and they've looked pretty good in those scrimmages. Granted, against nobody, but they've looked pretty solid. So lean there. 6 o'clock window. Anything else you guys are kind of looking for? I'm kind of just scrolling. I don't have much, but just some interesting games that you might be. Ohio, James Madison. James Madison's another team that got crushed in the portal. They've lost. Let me count it. Justin Taylor's gone. Lovings Watts is gone. Hudson's Everett, Dewano, Noah Williams, AJ Smith. These are all guys they're bringing in. Justin Taylor, Bryce Lindsey from A&M. So, I mean, they've got essentially a whole new roster here, laying 2.5 against Ohio. No, Ohio's not a crazy opponent to be really worried about, but I mean, just like we were talking about Louisville, need time to gel. 2.5, I mean, kind of feels like kind of want your money on that just for James Madison to win a game by a bucket. I mean, they were so damn good last year, but now you got a whole new roster essentially to build up. So
yeah, that actually kind of scares me. Like, I think Jeff Bowles at Ohio has that fucking program as like a very solid, like that's what you want to be as a mid-major is the Ohio Bobcats. Like, they're always very good. I expect them to win the MAC again this year, if not at least be, top 2-3 at the end of the season, and obviously dangerous in the in the conference tournament to win it. But I don't know. I actually kind of lean Ohio there. I think that team is really good. They're well coached. They don't have a lot of transfers coming in. They only lost 2 guys, a lot of returners that obviously believe in the program, believe in the coach. They got a lot of freshmen coming in, but they kept a lot of their guys. Sharif Mitchell's there. AJ Brown is back. AJ Clayton is there. They did bring in a player from Iowa State to fill in for a guard position, but like you said, James Madison got fucking nuked to the portal and everything else. So I still think they'll be good. Obviously, the transfers that they brought in are good players, and they're going to be a good team. I just don't know if off the rip, like facing Ohio is where you want to start the season. Because like I said, it's a very good team. It's not, they definitely didn't schedule an easy game to start the season off. So I don't have anything in it. But yeah, if it's Ohio catching 2.5, like you said, I don't know. I think
Plus
I kind of
120
lean
on
out.
the money line.
Yeah, I would kind of, I think, lean Ohio. If you're getting almost a full possession, especially if it jumps to 3, I would kind of like Ohio.
Yeah.
I'll listen to you guys. No plays for me there. I have nothing on that.
All right. A&M Florida. I think Nick, you have a play there, don't you?
Yeah, I'm laying the 4.5 with A&M. What UCF did last year was just be hounds on defense. They need the defense to be where they were last year to be competitive. They kept teams to 48% effective field goal percentage, which is 44th best in the nation. They forced turnovers on 20% of plays, which was top 30 in the nation, and they were top 100 in limiting offensive rebounds to opposing teams. They have 2 big backcourt returners in Sellers and Johnson, which is good because keeping guards nowadays is almost impossible. So, and they got a few good ads from some mid-majors and a transfer from Syracuse. My question about the team is, will they be focused on the defensive end like they were last year? They have a couple guys with some sketchy backgrounds that I don't really know how they're going to mesh with this team. I think they'll be more concerned about their offensive side of the ball rather than their defense, which is going to be really different. In terms of A&M, obviously the only major loss they had was Tyrese Radford because he graduated. Taylor, Garcia, Coleman, Washington, Carter, Obaseki, they're all back. They're bringing some good pieces too in the offseason. Like you guys know me, I never really factor having older guys as like a gigantic advantage. Like if you have younger guys and they're just way better than you, I don't think age really matters. But having 6 returning guys, especially of that caliber, is gigantic for any program. They obviously believe in this team. They believe in the coach, and they probably get along with each other, at least have a somewhat good environment where they want to play again with each other, which again is hard to come by. Also A&M has unlimited money, so I'm sure that helps. The one major thing why I really like A&M is where UCF was strong last year, A&M is even stronger. So UCF takes advantage of teams turning over the ball. A&M was of limiting offensive rebounds. A&M was number 1 in the nation in offensive rebounding and top 20 in turnover percentage in terms of them not turning the ball over at all. A&M is also a very good free throw shooting team, and UCF was like bottom 30 in putting teams on the line. So if you're getting this, line that's slightly over 1 possession, and this team is addicted to going to the line, is the best in the country last year at getting offensive boards, and they're not going to turn over the ball to give you extra possessions, I don't see why A&M doesn't win this game. I know they're on the road. I know UCF is at home, but the newcomers into UCF kind of scare me. And with all these guys coming back to A&M and how, obviously they struggled a bit offensively. They were horrible from shooting from deep. But like I said, the offensive rebounding, second chance points, getting to the line, I think that's really good for these guys. So I like A&M.
Yeah, I like that the refs might be on their side too. They want their, A&M. I think even for a home game, because I mean UCF is bringing back guys as well too. In Ball State again, Jalen Sellers for UCF. So I'm really interested in this game. Gonna back Nick as well. I feel like I've been second every time I've gotten to speak, but this was Nick's play called out earlier, and we were both on it. So I hate to piggyback 2 plays, but I love this A&M team. Wade Taylor's probably one of my favorite players in the country. So I'm just going to back him as a fandom as well too. Even though UCF's a tough place to play, and they got some wins last year in the Big 12, beat Kansas, couple other good teams as well too. So the 4.5, it definitely scares me, but I think this is the game. It'll be close the whole game. We're probably going to be mad at 4.5, and then the foul game ensues. Hopefully in our favor.
Hopefully.
Yep. I just read it, everything Nick said. I mean, they're great at rebounding, preventing offensive rebounding, their second chances, and then the free throw game, essentially where I think this comes down to at the end there. Sent Florida down 6 or 7 late, 5-6, and then can't get a rebound, foul game for A&M. They end up winning by 9-8 points, something like that. So I'm with that. I'm going to ride with those 2 on that. Huffer, what you got next?
Yeah. No, I think that we've talked about good games. Sorry, I was pulling up my notes and using crap, so I apologize for my delay. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to back because I only got a couple more minutes. So I gotta go watch Joe Flacco. We're not gonna talk about that. This is a college basketball show. So, but I'm gonna talk about the later game, and I'm gonna take Texas. The money line was minus 145 last week. Already on that. I hate to give out a minus 160 play, but I think they're right on at the number. 2 points. Ohio State's a good team with Diebler. We're in and out on Ohio State. I'm only giving this play out right now because it's the only one I actually have locked. But I really like this Texas team, even losing some of their players last year in Dessou and other Max Amos, excuse me, not Dessou, but yeah, I don't think this Ohio State team is that good of what we, even though they came on at the end there. Bruce Thornton, Michi Johnson. It'll be interesting seeing some of the couple transfers come in for Ohio State, and Jake Diebler is a good coach, but this is just too much for Texas, and Texas has been a well coached team, and Rodney Terry, and it's going to come down to the final play, but I already got Texas locked on the money line, and I'll double down on 2.5.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I'm on Texas. I think Ohio State's very good. I just think their losses from last season are just a lot. Like they lost everybody, like Gale, Akbara, Jameson Battle, Zed Key, Middleton, Bonner. They're all gone. Obviously, Michi Johnson, Micah Parrish, like you said, very good players to add in, and Bradshaw from Kentucky too. Like they got really good transfers. I just think Rodney Terry, very good coach. They bring in a lot of good pieces too, like Tremont Mark with Arkansas is coming over. Jordan Pope from Oregon State can score the ball, 37% from three shooter. Kimura from Kansas State was very good last year too. They brought in some Indiana State players as well that I guess left. So yeah, I don't know. I like Texas. We're getting less than a possession. I'm all over them. Fuck Ohio State.
Is there any like big spreads that you guys are interested in taking, like massive spreads? Let's say, 20. It has to be at least 20. But,
with real reasoning or with no real reasoning?
If you don't have to necessarily lock it yet, but definitely something that like a bigger spread that you're looking at and have your eyes on versus, because there's a good amount of big spreads. So a lot of 20-point favorites. Ole Miss 27 against LIU. That's a lot of points, but there's a lot of sitting at like 22, 23 points.
My college basketball tradition is to lose money on Mississippi Valley on day one every year, and they're catching 41 points playing Iowa State. So I'll probably throw half a unit on it just because.
Are the books saying that they're going to score 28 points?
Dude, it's bad. Because the total is only 132. So yeah, it's like 86, 87, and 87 for Iowa State. So like 45 points for Mississippi Valley, which honestly is probably like dead on. Like, I don't know if they'll score 50 points. Like if Mississippi Valley scores 50 points, they're covering.
Yep.
That's just a tradition of mine that loses every year. So I wouldn't actually take it.
I was actually looking at the same one. I'm waiting for this to drop for me offshore, but I'm going to be on Iowa State minus 41. I don't care. My tradition is to fade Mississippi Valley State every year to start the year. I remember Baylor was landing like 48, 49 points like a couple years ago, and they won by like 60. It's just
they always play some Big 12 powerhouse, bro.
I don't know why they do it. The paycheck, obviously.
The paycheck, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, all right, we've come in full knowing we're going to get walloped by 50 plus points, but that paycheck is nice. So that's the only reason they do it. And nothing's going to change tomorrow. Iowa State is going to suffocate them and probably be up like 25-30 at half. And then backups will come in. They're still better than what Mississippi Valley State's going to be rolling out for starters. So I think it'll probably be like a 92 to like 50 something game. Not 52, 40 something game. I don't think Mississippi Valley State goes over 50, to be honest. And then the other one was Arizona minus 32.5 against Canisius. Tommy Lloyd is, I think they just murder him. It's just fast paced.
I was thinking even their team total as well. And Canisius,
Yeah.
they were good. Canisius was good last year. They were actually good for the MAC in playing like Quinnipiac and other those teams. But they lost a lot of players, and they were going to be one of the worst teams this year. That's one I was kind of eyeing too. But God, I feel like I've just been piggybacking off everyone. So I guess I'll give. Oklahoma State versus Green Bay. They're going to fade them. Give me Duke.
Noah Reynolds and Sundance are gone.
Give me Duke. Come on, Nick.
Go. I'm fucking locked in, bro.
Give me Duke.
That spread has moved a lot.
A lot.
I think
it's 29, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
damn, I saw 27 the other day.
Yeah, I think it's 29 and a half.
29. Now. I mean, they can still win by 40, no problem.
Like, do you think Cooper Flagg is gonna like fuck him because he's from Maine? Yeah, but
I mean, it's not like he's got bad blood. Like, oh, these fuckers didn't recruit me. Like, it's I don't think that.
Yeah, you're right. I guess it's not like a D1 team that didn't keep him home, or you know what I mean, like a P5 team that didn't keep him home.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll probably only play the first half and
also
probably like 10 minutes or so.
Oh, come on. Yeah, I mean, you got to play him.
It won't be that fast.
You got to get used to the 30-minute window, 28 minutes of playing time.
True.
He'll probably play like 25, 28
it's probably
minutes.
The most public big spread, I would say, too.
Yeah.
Everyone it's Duke.
I haven't seen a player get like milked like him for how good he is in a long time. So everyone is going to be on.
In this first half totals aren't out, but Houston team total under against their opponent for first half. I mean, it's going to be
Jackson State.
It's going to be 20-something points, but
I
mean,
it's
the same
system play.
Team. They just knock you the fuck out and play how they want to. And then one I think I'm actually going to lock. I'll tweet this out. Is I'm going to trust the Butler Bulldogs to get it done. 14.5 points, 15 even now. Butler bringing back the same people, Jamel Telfort and Pierre Brooks, and coached by Thad Matta. And I don't know if you guys saw or want to do some research on the Missouri State exhibition game that they had. It was pretty miserable. I think they were down by like 15 points to some type of Southwest Baptist, who was like 6-25 NAIA last year, and Missouri State could barely score. Butler held their opponents to under 72.5 points last season at home. I just don't know if this Missouri State team can even score with Butler's defense. So I think the 14-15. The books know that Butler's not haven't been a high-power team, but at home against this hate fading Kwanzo Martin in Missouri State, but he's got a young group of guys all trying to gel together, and only up 2 at home against Southwest Baptist in the Great Lakes Valley Conference, and then finally getting it done 41-36, winning 72-65. But 26 free throw attempts on the game for Missouri State versus 10 for 11 with Southwest Baptist. I'm sorry, I promise to stop talking about Southwest Baptist. But the lead changed 5 times. So I don't trust this. It's more of a fade of Missouri State being able to score at Hinkle Fieldhouse to start the season.
Yeah, and similar to the Louisville angle, Butler couldn't close games last year.
My bad.
They couldn't close games last year.
They did
new season.
Last pointing out what Benedict said, he's right. Last season they were dominating non-cons, and they had a huge win against Texas Tech. They were closing out games early in the season, but come along Big East time, it was a different song and dance. So.
Yep, it just feels like a spot they can just finally just pedal to the metal, finish the game, win by 17, 20 points, something like that. I'm with you.
Southwest Baptist.
And Kenneth is saying Arizona team total is 92.5. Going to be playing
That's
pretty up
fucking high.
tempo. Yeah.
Benedict got a good number on Butler, 13.5. Holy shit. It's
That's
15.5 now.
Ooh,
Yeah,
15.5. It's moved 2
14
points.
on
damn. And it's juiced. It's going to keep
Where's
moving.
Where's it 14, Huff? Do you see it right now?
I thought FanDuel had 14. Just looking at it.
I'll bet it right now.
Am I mistaken?
Yeah, 15.5 on DK.
FanDuel says 15.5 on.
15 and a half minus 104.
Oh, it's fucking 16 in some places. Holy shit. Good number, Benedict.
Yeah,
I'm getting the
sharp.
best 15 here.
Sharp.
That shit has moved.
Yep. The only other game that I am officially on right now is the South Florida plus 9.5 versus Florida. I know Florida's roster is much better. They've got I think they only lost Riley Kugel was like the big loss for them. They still have that backcourt that's been really good for them. Their guard play was never the issue. But South Florida, remember a couple weeks ago, Abdul Rahim ended up passing away. And this just feels like the ultimate at home. Just make sure it's at home. Yep, it's at home for them in Jacksonville. I know it's not like a huge travel spot for Florida. It's not like their fans can't travel, but just this feels like a huge get up spot for them. First game without their coach. Come together, got a real reason to play, reason to show up. I feel like they can keep it within 10 points here for an interstate rivalry. I mean, Mike White, he's Georgia. Who the fuck is I'm drawing my blank on his name now. Todd Golden. I'm thinking Georgia. Todd Golden was solid, but it's not like they were super dominant. I mean, I know they had a run at the end of the year last year, but they didn't force turnovers. Offensively, they were good at rebounding. Now they have a 7'9" guy, but everything just points to Florida being able to cover this game. But I'm solely placing this as a passed away coach game. I think they get up for this 9.5, keep it within 10 points, interstate rivalry. I don't have crazy good cap for that. That's solely my main cap for this. Again, I'm doing all half units tomorrow, not going crazy, but I feel like South Florida is going to keep this game tight and probably lose by 6 or 7 late to fouls personally. So that's the only other game I'm on.
Yeah, no, I'm. It's so hard because I really like Florida and I like their team, and I think they're going to be pretty decent this year. But you can't. If you bet Florida, you're fucked in the head. You can't bet against South Florida. Yeah, for real. Like I think that coach Raheem was a really good coach. I think those players fucking liked him. And South Florida last year was pretty solid team. Yeah, they were definitely like in the mix. Like they were 25-8. Like I can't believe they fucking lost to VCU at the end of that season there. But yeah, I mean, bro, they were a really good team. Like I said, really good coach. They really liked him. So it's definitely sad to see that happen. And he's so young too. He's only like mid 40s or some shit, like super young.
Very young.
So that place will be emotional. I wish I was still down there to go to that game because I can't imagine that every time I went there, that place is empty. I really hope that it's packed for them and, for him and his family and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think getting almost 10 points at South Florida, like they're still a solid team. They brought in some good pieces. It's not like they're a bad team. But yeah, it's South Florida or no play.
Absolutely. All right. And Huff, I know you got to go.
Yeah, I got to go watch my Colts.
Anything?
Yeah, I got one more that I'm going to shout. I just took it, and that's going to be Western Kentucky money line minus 120, minus 125 on places. Only reason that I'm taking them is because I shouted them out twice now in the episode. So my plan is to try to talk about them as much as possible because they're trying to repeat their success from last year. And the one thing that scares me though, when a mid-major team has high expectations early in the season, they always kind of start out struggling. But hopefully their seniority and they got their leading scorer back, and even Christian Landers back as well too, Tyrone Marshall Jr. But Wichita State bringing back Xavier Bell, bringing back Holland Beverly, and Quincy Ballers. This will be a good game. I think the 1.5 they don't know what to do and toss up, but hopefully some squares to see which Ball State want to take it plus money against Western Kentucky. And I think Western Kentucky could roll here comfortably. But I just took the money line. So give me Western Kentucky to win by 8 or 10. Love it.
Yep. I mean, you don't have to worry about that bogus 3-pointer late with like 2 seconds left. Just come down and jack it up, and all of a sudden they win by 1 point.
Yeah.
Classic college basketball shit.
Yeah. So I mean, I just took the money line, but we'll see. We'll see. I think it's that one's gonna be the biggest sweat for me of the night. But yeah, that's really all I have officially locked. I'll let you know if I have any more. Don't take Colts money line or do. But I'm down to talk this Gonzaga Baylor game too. I don't know if you guys have anything for that.
Yeah.
I haven't locked anything. I mean, I wish we were pretty right on the number. We guessed 4.5 last week, and I think that's where it opened up as, and it's been.
I think it opened at 4, but it went down to 3. Now it's back up to 4.5.
I see 5.5.
5?
5.5. I see
5.5 on DK.
Damn.
That's a Baylor angle right there.
Yep, 5 for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
4.5 is a number I don't.
4 and 5 doesn't seem like a big difference, but it is. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
But 4 and 5, I feel comfortable about Baylor. Just the only thing that scares me is the home court advantage in Gonzaga.
Yeah, it's 5.5. It's moving up for sure. Some places have 5.5. I don't have anything on it either, but go ahead, Trev.
No, I have no play on this right now, but if this does get up to 5.5, 6, I will definitely be grabbing Baylor. I think Gonzaga definitely will win, but I don't think it's going to be a comfortable win. I think this is going to be a back and forth type of game. Scott Drew versus Mark Few. This is two great coaches. And like we talked about earlier, we knew Baylor struggled to cover at home, and on the road they were pretty damn good covering. So, I mean, they brought in Roach. Who else did they bring in? They brought in a lot of solid guys. I know they lost. What's that?
Khalif
Battle. Yep, Arkansas. They brought in some guys, so I think it'll be tight. Yeah, Temple and Gonzaga doesn't have Steel Venters again, like we talked about.
Randall's got player props open on this. I'm looking at some 15 plus points. These player props are like juice, like anytime touchdowns. But if you find a player that you are leaning towards, and 15 plus, there's some good market. Ike minus 145, Hickman plus 104, Jeremy Roach plus 116, Khalif Battle plus 126. So VJ Edgecombe plus 156. So I have to lean a Gonzaga player on when it comes to the player prop points, but I'm not going to give out anything. But all those guys can score 15 points, especially with how high the total
maybe a
is.
Nemhard assist angle.
It's not a bad idea either.
I mean, he was a monster the last 5 games of the season, 7, 12, 9, 11, 12, 10. I mean, he had multiple 10-plus assist games. I mean, he'll be moving the ball around.
8 rebounds, too.
Yeah.
Randall's
it'll be interesting. At 4.5, I really don't want to touch this, though, because I could see it either way. Late fouls, Gonzaga covers. Baylor keeps it tight. Lose by a possession late. But, I mean, if this gets up to 5.5, 6, I would probably grab Baylor, to be honest. That's probably where I'll be sitting at tomorrow night, if that's the case. Otherwise, kind of want to play the over a little bit. But, again, scary first game of the season, betting overs. You're better off.
First half's not bad. I think it's 72, 74.
Yeah, the only thing, I would say in favor of the over, I agree it's kind of scary, but like you said before, late fouls could definitely be in play here with it being a close game.
Yeah.
That's always the worst, having an under that looks good and then 12 points comes in the last 30 fucking seconds.
Yep.
You're just praying for bricks and
three,
defense.
Yep.
Yep.
And it's a different landscape. I mean, betting on college basketball 5 years ago, unders were the play. Now I think with how popular betting's became, it's definitely, there's not much of an edge on that market anymore. And I think how fast the game has evolved and tempo wise, even college basketball has gotten. I mean, with majority of the teams, over-unders were in the 60s, low 60s 5 years ago. Now they're all set, I feel like, at 70 is the baseline, and it either teeters a little bit under or just a little bit over. per
100%.
half.
I do feel like you're probably better off with unders beginning of the season versus mid-season, later in the season. You're just going to get teams will just kind of find their groove.
I agree with that. I mean, again, I guess playing devil's advocate there could be like there's a lack of defense because it's so early in the season that it makes teams kind of, I don't know, less
Just kind of like, yeah, well, I'm not going to chase them down. I'll let them have
more
that.
more like open gym kind of style ball versus like it's conference play. Let's sack up and win a game 72-68,
100%. Yeah, Huff, if you got skedaddle, go for it. I know there's just one game I was going to talk about, and that Kenneth actually was interested in. Cal State Bakersfield are running. I forget what the hell they are, road runners or something. At Cal, Cal, I like what they did in the offseason. They added a lot of guys, a lot of solid guys too. 12.5. Kind of like laying the 12.5 with Cal late. I mean, who did they got? Stojakovic from Stanford. Ola Joseph from Minnesota.
Don't they have Stephon Marbury's kid and Peja Stojakovic's kid on the team?
Yep, Stojakovic joined.
And Stephon Marbury. It's like Trayvon Marbury.
Yep. Yeah.
Marbury. I'm not seeing it. I could be just looking at the wrong one, but I mean, Matty Sissoko, they added him. Ryan Petritis from Air Force. They got Javon Blackshear from Grand Canyon too. I mean, they brought in a lot of good, solid players, a lot of dudes. And they lost Devin Askew, thank God. So they don't have that cancer on the team. Who knows where the hell he's at this point. This would be like his third or fourth transfer since he came into college basketball. So kind of like Cal here laying the 12.5 against Cal State Bakersfield. I know I was kind of addicted to betting Bakersfield last year, and they always just ripped your heart out the most heartbreaking way to end the game. So I don't really see them improving all that much to where they're going to be finally figuring it out and covering. I mean, they were I finally got power back. They're very, I mean, they weren't inexperienced, but they didn't know how to close games out. And now you brought in all these Sissoko, Blackshear, Petritis, and then Stephon Marbury's kid, Christian Tucker from UTSA too. I mean, they got some solid guards, and then Petritis is a big man who can shoot too. So I like I kind of like Cal 12.5 here. I may throw a halfie on it, or I'll see how tomorrow goes, and maybe I just throw a little extra on the night slate there at 10:30.
I will tail that. I got to go and find out why I love college basketball so much. Go Horse! Gonna go disappoint myself. Good stuff, guys. See you in a couple days.
Buddy.
Sir. Hey, I'll hop on Colts live if they go down. All right.
He did not.
If I can get more than a touchdown with the Colts, I'll play it live. But fuck the NFL anyway.
Yep.
But yeah, anything on Cal, or you kind of just
I'm with you. Their transfers that they brought in are really good. But it's like fucking I haven't looked into this. I haven't gotten down that far yet, but I know nothing about Bakersfield, but I'm looking at Cal. And yeah, I mean, they have a lot of good pieces, obviously, like Sissoko down low, coming over from Michigan State, and like you said, Blackshear from Grand Canyon. Like they have solid pieces. So I would be down to ride if that's what we're doing.
Yeah. I'm going to dive a little bit more into it, see if I want to have money on a Bakersfield game tomorrow. But I'm leaning that 12.5. I feel like they can win by 15. I mean, they got some pieces now, and losing Askew is huge. That guy was a cancer, so getting him out of there is huge. But other than that, any other games you're looking at tomorrow, or we pretty much?
I only have one other one. That's a little
yeah.
earlier. It's the Missouri-Memphis game.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna bet the over in this game. It's 152. I got it at MGM, I think, but I think it was moving up. But obviously Missouri coming off a 19-game SEC losing streak, didn't win a single conference game at all last year. Luckily for Mizzou, they fucking annihilated the portal. They brought in a ton of talent. They got Mark Mitchell from Duke, Tony Perkins from Iowa, Jacob Cruz coming over from UT Martin. Obviously, different level of competition, but he was very good. And Warwick from Northern Kentucky, who we watched a lot last year, also very good. Josh Gray, has to prove himself. But the 7-foot senior could be impactful down low for Missouri. And you know my fucking stance on Penny Hardaway in Memphis. I fucking hate him. I think he's rat shit. But they also got a lot of good transfers this year. Almost the entire team is transfers. They got Hunter from Texas coming in, PJ Haggerty, Colby Rogers, Musa Cisse from Ole Miss. The list goes on forever, but I think Haggerty should be very good, be able to draw a ton of fouls and get to the line just like he did at Tulsa. Memphis loves to play in transition. They love that transition style of offense. They play up tempo, which I think these guards will definitely flourish in. They're kind of like sort of mirroring what Alabama kind of does. Like obviously Alabama will either go for a dunk, layup, or shoot a three. Like he does not want them really shooting mid-range shots. Memphis is kind of the same. 40% of their shots last year came at the rim, 39% coming from three. So they're either getting the easy transition baskets like I was talking about where it's a freebie with a layup or a dunk, or they're going for deep shots from three. So I think that they'll be able to have good success with the transition offense. So I think this is going to be a fast-paced game. I think Missouri will obviously look better. It's hard to look worse than they did last year. So I think there's going to be points in here. Shout out Rob. He brought this to my attention last night when I asked him about it. So I looked into it today, looked at the rosters and everything. So I'm with him on the over 152 there.
Yeah. And Dennis Gates is a good coach. I mean, just bad year. It's just, It is what it is. He had a good year the year prior. They were really good and just down year. So following the ebbs and flows, it should be a solid year for him. I like that over. I need something in the, what was that, 4 o'clock or so? Oh, no, that's 7.
I think it's like
I don't
8
have anything.
p.m.
Yeah. Well, 7 for me. Yeah. I may tail that. Man, I came in saying I only have 2 or 3 bets I have actually locked in. And now we're sitting here and I'm like, man, I like this, that. Ohio's down to plus 105 on the money line I see now. God damn.
Oh, no, they're catching on. I better get it now.
Yeah.
I'll click near 3.
We should have. Yep. But yeah, I'll just go over what I'm actually on right now. I'm on Charleston -3 for tomorrow, South Florida plus 9.5. I did put another half unit on Louisville -19. All half units for me tomorrow. Not going crazy on day one, but nothing on the night games. I may tail Texas with you guys, and Texas A&M. I'm probably going to throw some money on with you in that one. And Arizona looked pretty good, but just Charleston, South Florida, and Louisville for me so far.
Yeah, I've got a lot. I've added some as we've gone through, but I have that Charleston, Southern Illinois over. Like I said, with the right state coach Nagy coming into Southern Illinois, I think they should play a little bit up tempo. I like the talent over at Charleston, and with Matt coming in, I still think they'll be a good coach team. I think there'll be points in that one. Following my Indiana State boys on St. Louis +1. Hopefully Avia plays. Obviously, we talked about he should be good to go with his injury being, over a month ago. So hopefully he's there. Obviously that plays a big part. A&M -4.5, like you said. The over Missouri, Memphis, Texas -2.5, and I added Baylor +5.5. We're getting almost 2 full possessions with Baylor. Obviously it's scary being at Gonzaga and being Gonzaga, but I like Baylor. I like that team.
Yeah. If Baylor pops to 5.5 or something for me, I'm seeing 4.5 for me, but if it pops to 5.5, and it's still moving up to 6, I'm definitely firing 5.5. I'll probably fire on it too. Just too much points for those 2 teams and coaches. So, great stuff. We're finally back. We'll definitely be running more episodes this week. We'll just figure out the times that work for everybody, but good stuff, man. Good luck tomorrow. Let's cash everybody.
Yeah, let's have a fucking day. Let's start the season off right.
Hell yeah. All right. Catch you guys later.
Later.
All right.